You stuck with the same old standard blues shuffle? It happens to all of us. I think we learn that classic blues pattern and pretty soon everything we play just starts to sound the same. I've definitely been there myself, and I'm not putting down that shuffle pattern, by the way. It's important and it's definitely the best place to start in the blues, but you don't want to get stuck there. You don't want to get stuck in shuffle land. So today I'm going to show you 3 funky tricks that will help you leave shuffle land while playing some monster rhythm parts on the acoustic guitar. If you're ready, let's dig in. Straight time is going to be our first step toward expanding your blues rhythms. While the shuffle gives us that lazy triplet feel, straight time gives us a driving forward kind of sound, and it opens up a whole different groove. So let's see how stepping away from the shuffle can create a whole new feel. When we think shuffle, our mind goes to this back and forth blues riff, but shuffle is really about more than just what's happening on the fretboard. It's actually more about the rhythm behind it. That pulse, that dot, 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 dot. To illustrate this and how it's different from where we're going, I'm going to move the thumb to just playing the beat, the 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to work in my index finger and middle finger are going to pluck the notes under this A bar chord with that same shuffle rhythm. Remember, it's dot, 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 dot. We're going to keep that going as we get ready to switch into straight time, where the fingers are going to plug in between the beat. It's not going to be pushed right up next to the next beat. It's going to be more evened out like this. Not dot, 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 and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Do you feel how we slipped into a different time there? We'll go back to shuffle, and now straight. 3, and 4, and 1, and it's nice and even. And it's going to form the rhythmic backbone for what we're going to do here with our riff. So let's talk about what's happening on the fretboard now that we've got the rhythm down. We're playing the bass and then those 2 tones under the A. That's coming from the 4th and the 3rd string, which these 2 fingers, index and middle, pick together. Bass again, then jump up to bar across the 7th fret, same 2 strings, and then down into a little piece of an A7. And this move sounds really classic and bluesy to me. We've got our little bar, then we're dropping down to the G and the C sharp, 5th fret, 4th string, and then the 6th fret, 3rd string, right out of an A7, right? Just playing it with these 2 fingers because it's nice and comfortable based on where I'm coming from. Then we're just going to finish this out by pumping the bass, doing a little blues move here on the C, the 3rd fret of the 5th string, and then back to my 2 notes under the A. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And to remind us where we came from, this is a shuffle. And straightening it up. All right, we're going to use that as our rhythmic feel throughout the rest of this lesson. But what we're going to do here is inject some 16th notes to make things a little busier here on beat 2. So we're going to count our 16th notes, 2, E, and A, right? So we're going to do something on each of those. What are we going to do? We're going to do bass, then that 7th fret bar, then bass again, and then our A7. So 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 and, right? We put an extra bass note on the and of 3 there to get us set up and give us something to move down to the open position under. 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 and 1. But keep in mind, this is where we came from. More straight ahead, a little more driving forward sound to me. Not that we always want that, but it's a great way to break free of our shuffle. See how that change from the shuffle to straight time just gives our rhythm a sense of forward momentum, a real groove. And to me, the straight time riff with those 16th notes added in there just shake things up a little bit. But we can really do a lot more than that to make things sound nice and funky, especially when it comes to our picking. Now that we've changed when we play our notes, timing, let's focus on how we play them, technique. And your picking hand is the key to bringing a little bit more funk to your blues grooves. Let's take a look. We're going to bring in some elements of the backbeat here. And if we think about the backbeat as being the kick drum on beats 1 and 3, and the snare filling in the gaps on 2 and 4, we want to bring this idea into our riff. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll do it like this. Now, I don't have a kick drum going other than stomping along with beats 1 and 3 on the floor, but we can get that snare crack just by having a lightly held fist and just coming down on the strings, right? Just that little snap is all we're looking for. And if we do that on beats 2 and 4, we kind of get the backbeat going. But for beat 2, we got a lot more to do because that's where we have our 16th note grouping. So once we're here, we need to be in place. And being in place in this case means muting out the strings, but do it while you're over the 5th and 7th frets, kind of like I'm doing here, because we've got quite a bit to do. For the E of beat 2, we're going to just thump the 5th string. It's muted, so it really doesn't make a sound, but we just kind of get that thumpy, clicky sound, right? The snare followed by that thumb. But then for the and, we're going to briefly play the 2 notes from the D chord. We played that earlier, but we're just barring at the 7th fret, strings 4 and 3. I'm doing it with my little finger here just because it's nice and in place, but any finger will do. Just make sure that you have everything muted, because for the final note of our 16th note grouping, we're coming back to that 5th string to mute it out and get that thump happening. So the sequence is snare, mute, notes, mute. Right? When we do that in time and speed it up, we're going to get something like this. And of course, we're going to end it with this cool move into the A7. But we're not just playing the straight like we did before. Here, we're barring at the 5th fret and then hammering up to the C sharp. So this gets you into that classic blues move of minor 3rd of A, C, to the major 3rd, C sharp. And you can also do that on beat 4, that snare crack that really helps to keep the groove going. These percussive picking techniques definitely add something new and fun to your riffs, but here's the thing, just because our groove is busier than the shuffle doesn't mean it always has to be. Great rhythm playing is also about knowing when to hold back so you can really make an impact at just the right moment. Sometimes making an impact means going all out with some funky tricks like we just covered, but it also can mean playing less. We're going to lean into less is more in 2 ways here. First, we're going to play less. Instead of all this 16th note stuff here, we're going to strip things down to just an 8th note pulse, where we move between strings 4 and 3 at the 2nd fret up to the 7th, and then our little piece of an A7 here. And we'll just follow a little groove along with that. But the second way that we're going to play with less is we're going to play with less volume, less intensity here. We're going to really just hunker down and pluck these notes with a light palm mute and a real staccato feel, short and choppy feel. And for our final measure here, as we get ready to change chords, we're going to play a lot less. I'm just going to play 1 and 2 and 3 and That's it. We're given a lot of space there, and the reason is that it's time for a chord change where we jump into a big D9 chord, and we can really take off with a lot more power and strum our way through it. Back into our riff, but when we play the riff this time, we'll play with more intensity because we just took us to a super low, super quiet place. Then entered in with some big impact. We might even throw in a little bit more busyness into the riff, just like that, because we're heading into another big powerful part where we're going to play through our 5 chord and our 4 chord again. And end with our riff. Again, that is a busier, more intense version of the riff, but it's all based on that skeleton that we started out with. Knowing how to use space and control the dynamics really separates good rhythm players from great ones. It's all about building tension and resolving it at just the right time. And these 3 techniques, straight time, percussive picking, and knowing when to hold back, really work together to create a cool groove. You can combine them in your rhythm parts for a great alternative to the basic shuffle. So here's an example that I came up with. It features the ideas we covered, plus I'm going to throw in a few licks over the 4 and 5 chords just for some fun. And premium members, you're going to find the interactive tab for this performance in the MyBGI library under lesson TB481. Earlier, I showed you how to round out your rhythm skills by breaking away from shuffle-based rhythm, but the thing is you can actually keep going with the shuffle and still make your rhythm parts feel like you're taking a solo. So watch Tuesday Blues number 419 next for 3 of my tips to unlocking advanced blues rhythms. I'll see you there. Until then, practice smart and play on.